The morning started like any other day for Captain Alex Turner. He was drinking his coffee in the command center of Earth Defense Station Alpha when the alarm started screaming. His hands shook as he put down his cup and stared at the massive screen showing space around Earth. 12 enormous ships hung in the darkness beyond Mars. Each one was bigger than any city on Earth. They were black and covered with strange lights that pulsed like a heartbeat. Captain Turner had never seen anything like them, but he knew exactly what they were. The day humanity had been preparing for had finally arrived. Admiral Lisa Hayes ran into the command center, her uniform still wrinkled from sleep. She had been Earth's top military officer for 10 years, but nothing could have prepared her for this moment. The alien ships were real, and they were here. The first message came exactly 1 hour after the ships appeared. It was broadcast to every television, radio, and computer on Earth at the same time. The voice was cold and mechanical, speaking perfect English with no emotion at all. People of the third planet from your sun, you will surrender to the great Zephyrian Empire. We have conquered 47 worlds. Your weapons cannot hurt us. Your defenses are useless. You have 12 of your hours to give up. If you do not surrender, we will take your planet by force. President Maria Rodriguez was in the White House Situation Room within minutes. She looked tired and scared, but her voice was steady when she spoke to the Emergency Council. Around the table sat the most important people on Earth, generals, scientists, and world leaders who had gathered through video calls from around the globe. Dr. Paul Green, Earth's best expert on alien technology, stood up with a thick folder in his hands. He had been studying radio signals from space for 20 years, trying to understand how alien technology worked. His face was pale as he opened the folder. The ships are using energy sources we barely understand, he said quietly. Each one has enough power to destroy our entire planet. Their weapons could crack the Earth in half if they wanted to. We have never seen technology this advanced. Commander Jake Miller, head of Earth's space monitoring systems, pointed to the screen showing the alien fleet. They are arranged in a perfect attack formation. This is not their first time doing this. They know exactly how to threaten a planet into giving up. The room fell silent. Everyone understood what they were facing. The aliens had done this before many times. They knew how to make people so scared that they would surrender without fighting. But General Steve Collins stood up slowly. He was an old soldier who had fought in 3 wars and never backed down from a fight. His gray hair was cut short, and his eyes were hard as steel. 15 years ago, we detected the first alien signals, he said. We knew this day would come. We have been preparing. The Phoenix Project has been working in secret since then. Dr. Amy White, director of the Phoenix Project, activated a hidden screen. The display showed weapons and defenses that most people in the room had never seen before. Hidden bases on the moon, secret weapons in space, and technology that pushed the limits of human science. We built these weapons assuming we would be fighting enemies with better technology than us, she explained. We focused on surprise, speed, and hitting them where they do not expect it. We cannot match their power, but we do not have to. We just have to hurt them enough to make them think twice. Captain Turner listened to the plans and felt something growing in his chest. It was not fear. It was anger. These aliens thought they could just show up and demand that humanity give up their entire world. They thought humans would be too scared to fight back. The 12 hours passed quickly. Leaders from every country on Earth called in to give their answer. It was the same from everyone. No surrender. Humanity would fight. As the deadline approached, Captain Turner sat in his command chair with his finger over the communications button. The alien ships waited in space like giant metal vultures. They expected Earth to call and beg for mercy. They expected humans to act like all the other species they had conquered. They were about to learn that humans were different. At exactly 12 hours after the alien message, Captain Turner opened the communication channel to the fleet. His voice was calm and clear as he spoke into the microphone. This is Captain Alex Turner of the Earth Defense Force speaking for all of humanity. We have received your demand for surrender. He paused and looked at the faces around him. Everyone was scared. but everyone was ready to fight. Our answer is no. Earth does not belong to you. If you want our planet, you will have to take it from us. And we promise you this: it will cost you more than you ever imagined. The transmission ended. In the silence that followed, every person on the command deck could feel it. The war for Earth was about to begin. The aliens had conquered 47 worlds, but they had never fought humans before. They were about to learn why that mattered. Admiral Kethvar stood on the bridge of his massive flagship, looking at the small blue planet below. In 300 years of conquest, he had never met a species that refused to surrender after seeing the Zephyrian fleet. These humans were either very brave or very stupid. He would show them the difference. "Begin the demonstration," he ordered his weapons officer. "Target the largest asteroid in this system. Show these primitives what happens to those who defy the Empire." The asteroid, called Ceres, had been floating in space for billions of years. It was the size of a small moon, covered in ice and rock. In 3 seconds it was gone. 12 energy beams hit it at the same time, and the explosion lit up the solar system like a new sun. Anyone watching from Earth could see the flash with their naked eyes. Commander Zarathul smiled as she watched the destruction. She was the Empire's best invasion specialist, and she had conquered 23 worlds personally. After seeing that display of power, the humans would be calling within an hour to beg for mercy. They always did. But on Earth, something very different was happening. Captain Turner watched the asteroid explode and felt his jaw tighten. The aliens wanted to scare humanity into giving up. Instead, they had just proven that they were exactly as dangerous as Earth's defenders had feared. Turner picked up his communicator and spoke 4 words that would change galactic history forever. "Operation Moonstrike is authorized." On the dark side of the moon, Lieutenant Ben Carter got the message he had been waiting for his entire life. For 10 years, he had been living in a secret base built inside an old crater. His job was to maintain and operate Earth's most dangerous secret weapon. The railguns looked simple enough, just long metal tubes pointed at space. But these were not ordinary weapons. They used magnetic fields to throw chunks of metal faster than anything the aliens had ever seen. Each projectile was pure tungsten, harder than steel and heavier than lead. "Target acquired," Carter said into his microphone. He was looking at the smallest alien ship through his targeting system. The aliens thought their shields could stop any weapon. They were about to learn they were wrong. The tungsten rod left the railgun at a speed that was almost impossible to imagine. It was moving so fast that it took only 8 seconds to cross the distance between the moon and the alien fleet. There was no explosion, no flash of light, no warning of any kind. The alien escort ship Voidrender simply stopped existing. On his flagship, Admiral Kethvar stared at his display screen in shock. One moment, the Voidrender was there. The next moment, it was gone. Not destroyed, gone. His sensors showed no energy weapon, no missile, no attack of any kind. The ship had just vanished. "What happened?" he demanded. His crew looked just as confused as he was. In 3 centuries of war, they had never seen anything like this. "Sir," his sensor officer said nervously, "I am detecting no energy signature, no explosion, no debris. The ship is simply not there anymore." Dr. Helen Brooks watched the battle from Earth's command center with fierce satisfaction. She had designed the railgun system after studying every alien technology report they could find. The aliens used energy shields that could stop lasers and plasma beams, but nobody had ever tried to shoot them with a chunk of metal moving at 12% of light speed. "Fire again," Captain Turner ordered. The second tungsten rod was already loaded and ready. Lieutenant Carter adjusted his aim slightly and pulled the trigger. Another alien ship, this one much larger, died just as quickly as the first. The heavy cruiser Storm of Conquest became a cloud of glowing metal in space. Admiral Kethvar felt something he had not experienced in his entire military career: fear. 2 of his ships were gone, and he still had no idea how the humans were killing them. His shields were working perfectly. His weapons were ready. But somehow these primitive apes were destroying his fleet with weapons he could not even detect. "All ships, retreat to safe distance," he ordered. It was the first time in Empire history that a Zephyrian fleet had ever retreated from a single planet. Commander Zarathul could not believe what she was hearing. "Sir, we outnumber them 1,000 to 1. Our technology is centuries ahead of theirs. We cannot retreat from a primitive world." "2 of my ships are gone," Keithvar replied coldly. "Until we understand their weapons, we maintain distance." Captain Turner's voice came crackling over the communication channels, reaching every alien ship in the fleet. "Leaving so soon? We were just getting warmed up. Come back anytime you want to lose more ships." On Earth, the celebration was just beginning. Humanity had drawn first blood against an empire that had never been beaten. But Turner knew this was only the beginning. The aliens would be back, and next time they would be ready for Earth's surprises. The war had started, and humanity had just taught the galaxy's greatest military power something they had never learned before, that sometimes the smaller enemy hits harder. Emperor Thaxamor slammed his fist on the golden table so hard that the crystal displays cracked. In his 1,000 years of ruling the Zephyrian Empire, no one had ever dared to humiliate his fleet. But these humans had done exactly that, and now the entire galaxy was watching. 200 ships, he roared at his terrified advisors. "Send the Death Fleet. Bring me the planet killer Eternal Dominion. I want these humans to know what happens when they challenge the Empire." The Death Fleet was the Empire's ultimate weapon, ships so powerful they had never been used against a single world. Each one could destroy a moon. Together they could crack a planet in half. They had been built to fight wars against entire star systems, not one small world. But Emperor Thaxamor was beyond caring about fairness. He wanted Earth turned into burning rocks floating in space. On Earth, General Steve Collins smiled when he heard about the Death Fleet. The aliens were angry, which meant they were making mistakes. Angry enemies were predictable enemies, and predictable enemies could be beaten. "They think bigger ships will save them," he told his staff in the underground command center. "Let's teach them that size doesn't matter when you can't see what's shooting at you." Captain Lisa Wong stood in the cargo bay of the stealth ship Hidden Strike, looking at her crew of 20 volunteers. They were about to attempt something that had never been tried before, taking the war to the enemy's home territory. "We're going to hit them where they think they're safe," she told her team. "The Zephyrians have supply bases throughout their empire. They think humans can't reach them. We're going to prove them wrong." The Hidden Strike and 19 other stealth ships had been built in secret over the past 5 years. They were painted black, designed to absorb radar, and equipped with engines that produced almost no heat signature. To alien sensors, they would look like empty space. Major Tony Kim led the assault team that would board alien ships and steal their technology. He had trained for 2 years in zero-gravity combat, learning how to fight in the cramped corridors of spaceships. His job was to capture alien equipment and learn how their weapons worked. Sergeant Rachel Scott was the demolition expert. Her job was simpler: blow up everything the humans couldn't take with them. She carried enough explosives to turn a city block into a crater, all packed into a backpack that weighed less than her lunch. The journey to Alpha Centauri took 3 weeks. The human ships flew in complete radio silence, following a course that avoided all known alien patrol routes. When they finally reached the Zephyrian supply depot at Proxima Centauri, Captain Wong could hardly believe how easy it was. The aliens had grown lazy after 3 centuries of easy victories. Their supply depot had exactly 4 guard ships protecting enough military equipment to supply an entire invasion fleet. The guards were not even paying attention to their sensors. "All teams, begin the attack," Captain Wong whispered into her communicator. The assault was over in 30 minutes. The human ships appeared out of nowhere, their weapons blazing. The Zephyrian guards tried to call for help, but Sergeant Scott's first target was their communication array. By the time they realized they were under attack, it was too late to warn anyone. Major Kim's boarding teams swept through the supply depot like wolves hunting sheep. The Zephyrian workers had never seen actual combat before. They surrendered immediately, which suited the humans perfectly. Kim needed prisoners who could tell him how alien technology worked. Dr. Carl Thompson was waiting on Earth when the stolen alien equipment arrived. He was a reverse engineering specialist who had spent his entire career taking apart foreign technology and figuring out how it worked. But even he was amazed by what the humans had captured. "Their weapons are incredibly advanced," he told General Collins as he studied an alien plasma rifle. "But they have one huge weakness. Everything is automated. They rely on computers to aim, to fire, to think for them. Take away their computers, and their weapons are useless." Commander Nina Foster began training new assault teams based on Dr. Thompson's discoveries. She taught soldiers how to disable alien computer systems and use the aliens' own weapons against them. Her troops learned to move fast, hit hard, and disappear before the enemy could react. Meanwhile, the attacks continued. Human stealth ships struck Zephyrian bases across 4 star systems. They hit supply depots, communication stations, and fuel storage facilities. Each attack was perfectly planned and brutally executed. Admiral Kethvar, now commanding the massive Death Fleet, received reports of 17 different attacks in just 2 weeks. The humans were not fighting like any enemy the Empire had ever faced. They did not try to hold territory or build defenses. They just appeared, destroyed everything useful, and vanished. "How are they moving so fast?" he demanded of his intelligence officers. "Our sensors show no human ships in those systems." But the humans were already there, invisible and patient. They had learned that the best way to fight a superior enemy was to make them afraid of shadows. Every Zephyrian base now wondered when the humans would come for them. Emperor Thaxamor watched his empire burning from the inside and felt fear for the first time in his long life. These humans fought like nothing he had ever seen. They did not want to conquer worlds. They wanted to destroy everything the Empire had built. As the Death Fleet finally entered the solar system, they found Earth waiting for them. But this was not the same planet that had surprised them before. In the months since the first battle, humanity had turned their entire solar system into a weapon. Captain Turner sent one final message to the approaching armada. "Welcome back. We missed you. This time we've prepared something special." The Death Fleet was about to learn that teaching humans how to fight was the worst mistake the Empire had ever made. The Death Fleet arrived at Earth expecting to find a broken planet begging for mercy. Instead, they found a solar system that had been turned into the deadliest trap in galactic history. Every asteroid had been hollowed out and filled with weapons. Every moon had become a fortress. Even the planets themselves had been armed. Admiral Kethvar stared at his sensors in disbelief. The readings showed thousands of hidden weapons platforms scattered throughout the system. The humans had not been sitting quietly waiting for death. They had been preparing for the biggest fight the galaxy had ever seen. "Sir," his weapons officer said nervously, "our scans show energy signatures we cannot identify. The humans have built weapons we have never seen before." The battle began when the Death Fleet crossed the orbit of Pluto. Hidden railguns opened fire from the dwarf planet's surface, sending tungsten rods screaming through space at impossible speeds. 3 Zephyrian destroyers died before they even knew they were under attack. Commander Sue Taylor led Earth's fighter wing in the first manned attack against the alien fleet. Her pilots flew ships that were half the size of alien fighters but twice as fast. While the Zephyrians relied on computer-controlled weapons, human pilots used instinct, creativity, and pure stubbornness to outfight machines. "Remember," Taylor told her pilots over the radio, "their computers think logically, we don't. Use that against them." The space battle raged for 6 days. The aliens had bigger ships and more powerful weapons, but the humans had something the Empire had never faced before, a species that got more dangerous the longer they fought. On the 4th day, Colonel Frank Miller completed the most insane military project in human history. His engineering teams had been working for months to turn Jupiter's moon Europa into a massive kinetic weapon. Using nuclear explosives planted deep in the moon's core, they launched the entire ice-covered satellite directly at the Empire's flagship. Admiral Kethvar watched in horror as a moon-sized projectile came hurtling toward his ship. The Eternal Dominion was the most powerful warship ever built, capable of destroying planets. But there was no weapon in existence that could stop an entire moon moving at orbital velocity. "This is impossible," he whispered, as his flagship's shields failed under the impact. They have weaponized a celestial body. The destruction of the Eternal Dominion broke the back of the Zephyrian fleet. The surviving ships fled the solar system in complete disorder, carrying news of humanity's victory to every corner of the galaxy. But Earth was not content to simply defend itself. Within 3 months, Major Chris Lee was leading the first human expedition beyond the solar system. Their target was Rigel 4, a planet recently conquered by the Empire and home to millions of enslaved aliens. The liberation of Rigel 4 became a template for human military operations throughout the galaxy. Captain Joe Brown's assault teams stormed Zephyrian installations with captured alien weapons and tactics, specifically designed for close-quarters combat. The Empire's soldiers, trained to fight at long range with energy weapons, had no answer for humans who charged straight at them with stolen plasma rifles. Dr. Ann Davis, now director of Earth's xenobiology program, made contact with the freed, alien species. She discovered that many of them had been waiting for someone to show them that the Empire could be beaten. The humans had not just liberated one world, they had sparked a galaxy-wide rebellion. Within 2 years, 17 former Zephyrian colonies had declared independence under human protection. Admiral Sally Green commanded humanity's new interstellar navy from her flagship Defiance, leading fleets to liberate world after world. The Empire's response was always the same: send more ships, use bigger weapons, threaten to destroy entire planets. But the humans had learned that the Empire's greatest weakness was its dependence on fear. Once people stopped being afraid, the Zephyrians had no idea how to fight. Captain Turner, now promoted to admiral, led the human fleet toward the galactic core where the Empire's homeworld waited. His ships carried names like Retribution, Never, Again, and Freedom's Price, names that reflected humanity's transformation from a single-world species to a galactic liberating force. Emperor Thaxamor sat on his golden throne, staring at reports of rebellion spreading across his empire like wildfire. 43 worlds had already declared independence. His fleets were being destroyed faster than they could be replaced. The humans had done something no enemy had ever accomplished. They had made the Empire look weak. In desperation, he sent a message to the Galactic Council, the ancient organization that governed relations between star systems. His holographic image appeared before alien leaders from across the galaxy, begging for their intervention. The humans must be stopped, he pleaded. They are a plague that threatens the natural order of the galaxy. They refuse to accept defeat. They turn our own weapons against us. They fight with a savagery that goes against all civilized warfare. The Council listened to his words with growing interest. Some species saw opportunity in the Empire's weakness. Others feared what humanity might do to them if they stood in their way. Admiral Turner received the Emperor's transmission, while his fleet was still 3 days from the Zephyrian homeworld. He read the message twice, then recorded his response for broadcast throughout the galaxy. Emperor Thaxamor, you came to our world demanding surrender. You told us that resistance was futile. You were wrong. We have spent the last 3 years teaching your empire and the entire galaxy a simple lesson. Freedom is always worth fighting for, no matter the odds. Turner paused, looking out at the stars that now belonged as much to humanity as to any other species. You want to know what makes humans different? We don't know how to quit. We don't accept that bigger means better. And we never, ever give up when someone tries to take our freedom away. The transmission ended with Turner's final words to the Empire. Your reign of fear is over. Welcome to the human galaxy. The war that had started with aliens demanding Earth's surrender ended with humanity offering the Emperor one last chance to surrender himself. The species that had learned to fight by defending their home had become the galaxy's greatest hope for freedom. And across the stars, on worlds that had been enslaved for generations, people looked up at the night sky and whispered a new word they had learned from the humans: liberation.